Pound.
In a world,
Shut the hell up.
where Carolina Panthers fans
Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
have an insatiable thirst
I need to see a lot more of that shit going forward.
for Panthers news and opinions.
All my C3 brethren from the C3 Legion.
Only one podcast roars ferociously.
The longest running Panthers podcast on the internet.
It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh, Greg, I owe y'all $100, man.
What's good, Panther fans? Could the Panthers be in a bargaining position to grab a couple of Bengals? Is that cat on cat crime? Or is that just cats getting along? Well, these three cats are getting along on Tuesday night, where you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name's Tony Dunn. That's my wheelman, Cody Lack. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn, even when there is not shit to talk about, the C3 Panthers podcast is destined to do a 2.5-hour pod, as is inevitable. But you know what, man? We are always happy to be here on a Tuesday night with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube as we discuss potential trades between the Panthers and the Bengals. Also evaluating some of our roster, giving our predictions for some of the players this year on offense, as we did last Friday on the free-for-all. But Tony Dunn, you know we're going to do this, like I said, with the best damn fans on YouTube. Joey the Blind Panther in the building. What's up, bro? C3 Doug. C-Dog 1983 TV. What's up, brother? Harvey London. Michael Weidrich. Panther Gal 73. Tim Stellings. The Hope Dealer. And Panther Gal 79. Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. We'd love to get your thoughts on what's going on in Panther Nation. Be a part of the show. Smash thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and like the show. Cody, actually not Cody, CK. How you doing, my friend?
Oh man, I'm doing good. Just happen to be here to talk about whatever it is we're going to be talking about tonight. Man, it's wild to go from a week like last week where we have a Panther legend on to a week like now where we legitimately have 3 things to talk about. I mean, it's wild. I mean, there's speculation and all of that, and maybe we talk a little bit about the Bryce Young. Just now came to me, the Bryce Young's with CJ Stroud at the Fanatics Fest or something like that.
Yeah, the Michael Rubin joint that he puts on every year.
Yeah, where Bryce Young was throwing dots and sinking buckets and hitting, like, dude, it made you realize this dude was an all-around athlete in some way, shape, or form. But man, it's good to be here chopping it up with you fellas, as it always is. And even just something when we talk about 3 of us, I think it's important we bring it up. We got that our 4th member here that's still out focusing on himself and his family and what have you, and just wanting to take a moment to put some positive vibes out for our boy Greg.
Yeah,
That daddy.
the stat daddy. All right. Tonight's show is, could the Panthers barter for a couple of Bengals? I guess some things that we need to talk about are, like you guys highlighted, a couple of things going on when it comes to the Fanatics. I saw Cam Newton hanging out with Cam Jordan. But Panthers somehow always continue to be, maybe it's just because we're the ones looking at it, seem to always be in the mix for potential guys that don't seem like you're ever going to get these guys anyway. No. What's the heck is going on in Cincinnati? It's a mess over there, it feels like.
It is, man. And listen, to anyone who follows NFL football closely, it's easy to know that the Cincinnati Bengals are probably the worst run NFL franchise in all of the 32 teams of the NFL. And that's saying something, because there's been a bunch of incompetent ones, but there's a number of players that are basically in holdout situations with the Cincinnati Bengals. And we're going to talk about 2 of them here today. But David Hellman from Fox Sports, he did a couple of theoretical trades with some big name players and perfect landing spots that they might fall to. And he had last year's sack leader, Trey Hendrickson, who had 17 and a half sacks last year, had him as a potential trading candidate for the Carolina Panthers. After a holdout from minicamp, could Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson find what he's looking for with the Panthers? He goes on to say the tough thing about veteran trades at this time of the year is that the options have become limited. Teams spend the spring investing their cap space and earmarking money for the future use, so it's hard to find more than a handful of teams that can afford to part with draft picks as well as a high-end contract. However, the Panthers might be willing. Even with the large number of free agent contracts they've signed, Carolina still has some cap space. They can also afford to wait on extending Bryce Young. They have the need help on edge, and he says the Panthers have been lacking a true superstar pass rusher since Brian Burns stepped down. Now, of course, as you mentioned, whenever we're in talks about these players, the Panthers almost never land them. However, some of these players are fringe players, right? We were talking about Jair Alexander and how he had been injured. Jalen Ramsey has pretty much kind of seen the best years. But, boys, we're talking about what some might say is the best edge rusher potentially in all of football. I mean, you think about Myles Garrett, you think about TJ Watt, and now you have to add Trey Hendrickson to that list after what he's done the past couple of years. So my question to all of you and for the panel in general is, should and or could Dan Morgan and the Panthers explore a trade for Trey Hendrickson? Even though it would cost a lot of money, you would have to pay him, and you would have to trade for him from Cincinnati. But is this an option for the Carolina Panthers?
I mean, I guess it depends upon what it takes, number one. Number two, my gut instinct is to say no. And that's not to say that I don't think this dude's a great player, but I'm going to always err on the side of caution when it comes to this stuff because we have been burnt too many times here recently with bad trades and things that ended up, again, I'm not saying that Trey Hendrickson, if I can speak with his name, if Trey Hendrickson's trade would be a bust for us, but I just don't think, I think the best teams have a way of progressing their team forward with homegrown talent. Like, right, the best teams find a way to get the most out of the players that they have and turn their players into Trey Hendrickson, not trading for Trey Hendrickson and paying a big contract and then risking not having a really good player that could be the next superstar elsewhere, right? I just don't think that it makes a tremendous amount of sense for a team like ourselves where we still have, we have some needs, but we also have future needs. And there are positions we're getting old at, and the idea of trading away assets for a guy who's already pretty old in the NFL, I'm just not sold on that idea right now.
Yeah, Tony.
I mean, it's kind of like I feel like it's going to be a lame answer. Is that, like trading for him helps this team immediately, right? You're putting I feel like we put a lot of eggs and younger player baskets in a sense. But I think trading for him right now is kind of panicking on your plan. Yeah. And you went and got, you have Wonnum, who you think is kind of a bridge guy. You've got who's the other guy that came from Minnesota? Patrick Jones. Patrick Jones.
Yep.
Right. And those are supposed to be your placeholders until you can nurse up the young pups. You go and throw in a superstar, a big contract, draft picks, and it feels like you're going, you're almost buying into the optimism yourself a little bit too much instead of like, hey, we do plan to be better. We hope that we can make a run at the NFC South. We hope that this can happen. But logic tells us, or even our own plan of action was to grow it in this direction.
Yeah.
So I think going and trading for it, hey, man, it helps your team. It would make a great difference. And if he came here and was a 10-sack player, you're jumping for joy. And you're talking about repairing the defense faster. Now, that's the flip side of that coin is like you have committed to a slow repair of this defense in a sense rather than a fast one like you did with the offensive line. And you saw what a fast, aggressive approach did for that offensive line and how that helped. This defense was bad last year. It had a lot of problems against stopping the run, a lot of problems getting after the quarterback. It had a lot of problems everywhere. It was one of the worst. It was like the worst defense technically in NFL history. So I almost want to be in the room with and say, really, guys, do you think that this is we're really better, significantly to where now we can hit this momentum point? If you feel like, and you want to chase that win, you want to chase that, then let's do it. But if you think that we're heading the right direction and incrementally going the right way, I think you stick to the plan.
Yeah, and by the way, we're talking about signing Trey Hendrickson. So one, do we have to be able to trade for him?
Yeah,
which is going to be hefty in and of itself. But then you're talking about between $31 to $35 million per year for Trey Hendrickson. Now, again, this is a lot of money and it's a lot of trade value. However, man, I think that sometimes this gets lost on us, right? That we have a window of time to build around a quarterback on a rookie contract. Now, you could also say Bryce Young has not proven that he will be worth a brand new giant quarterback contract yet. That's what we're hoping to see from him. But I believe the whole point of having a quarterback on a rookie contract is to be able to add all these players around him while you have a window to do so. Let's be real. The Cincinnati Bengals kind of failed to do so for Joe Burrow. The Bills, in another way, failed to do so for Josh Allen. You're trying to win a championship in that window. And in my mind, this is what the Texans have been doing with C.J. Stroud. This is what the Commanders are doing with Jaden Daniels. Look, I understand that none of these players ever come to Carolina. But, man, if you're talking about wanting to build a contender right now, Trey Hendrickson is going to be a great player for another 4 to 5 years. And if you look at him, he has led the NFL in sacks the past 2 years in a row. So you are literally talking about a premier player. So, I know that this isn't going to happen, right? Let's be real. However, I would not be upset at doing this because it signals that for the foreseeable future, you want to be a contender and not someone who's sitting on the fringes hoping that your developing talent can take a step forward quicker than previously thought possible. So,
and Cody,
I would be in favor of it.
I agree, but I also that's only if I were looking at it in a vacuum of the money that we would pay him. I think he's worth the money, and I don't debate that because I think what he brings to the table is we get rid of the king of almost, right? That's what that article said. We haven't had a star since Brian Burns. We haven't had a close to a star as Brian Burns was, right? Right. Brian Burns wasn't a star for us. He was close, but he was never able to be the one that was, and Trey Hendrickson would be that. But now you add in the compensation that the Bengals would require for you to be able to take them off of his hand or take him off their hands, right? That is where I think the question mark comes into play because what you run into is right. The Commanders are adding stuff for Jaden Daniels, but guess who they're not paying right now and who's holding out? The best wide receiver they have in Terry McLaurin because they don't they are going and trying to add all these other pieces. And I don't think that it's unreasonable to sign a Trey Hendrickson if the price for the draft capital is worth it, or if we were willing to send players over that are, you know, equivalent, right? Even if it's multiple. But I guess I'm shell shocked from all of the moves that we've made over the past really 10 years when it comes to trades. I don't think anybody looks back and thinks that we won any of them.
I think we won the Michael Jackson trade. I think that's
how many. What was the time frame you gave us, CK?
What'd you say?
What was the timeline of trades?
10 years.
Oh, fittingly, we were in the Super Bowl 10 years ago, and the Jared Allen trade was critical.
Yeah,
but that was a good one. You know what I mean? Like his, and that was mid-season trade or second game, like which is amazing.
In 10 years, I mean, the Michael Jackson trade. Yeah, I could say you probably could say we won that one, right? I could say we probably would assume we lost the Diontae Jackson and Diontae Johnson trade. You could say we lost the Bryce trade, not because Bryce is going to be bad, but because of what we gave up with DJ Moore, the number 1 overall pick for 2 years, essentially, or for that year, and you know what have you. You know, to give up all the things that we gave up for him. The Christian McCaffrey trade is always going to be haunting us. In hindsight, the Brian Burns trade, many people say we lost that because of we didn't get 2 first-round draft picks, even though, you know, it is what it is. You know, I just don't know that public perception or even fan perception is looking kindly on the Panthers' trade history. And now, is that a reason to be timid? No, but I think as a fan, it's until we can start to prove that we are, in fact, like the Commanders went to the playoffs last year. They can make the moves that they're making, right? The Houston Texans have been to the playoffs 2 years in a row. They can make the moves that they're making. The Panthers haven't been to the playoffs since 2017. We cannot afford to make moves that are going to be potentially damaging to the team in the future. We just don't have that luxury.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinion from the fan perspective. Numbers 252-228-5098. Go ahead and get on the Cat Calls line. We'll be getting there shortly, discussing the potential of Carolina getting busy in the trade market as there are disputes around the league with certain players as they're heading into next season, and questions loom about whether these players are going to be willing to sit out of training camp and sit out of and put pressure on these teams. And it just happens to be that the Bengals are a real center of, it's like black hole of questions right now.
Yeah, man.
And look, for me, the Hendrickson one makes sense. Like, it was like why they're going through it, right? They've had to pay Joe Burrow. They've had to pay Jamar Chase. They went and basically paid T. Higgins. Like, where does the money end and how much can they commit and where can they commit it? I don't understand what the hell is going on with the Shemar Stewart discussion. I watched the video of him maybe a week ago. We saw it, right? Where he's like in the locker room and he's like, I mean, it could change. And he said, and I read somewhere, Cody, if you could fill us in, that the Bengals are trying to do something, an experiment with him, test the field for, like, it's like he's like a test case of something that's never been done before.
Yeah,
what is that? Why the hell is it so hard? I thought that rookie contracts were ultimately spelled out by the CBA, and that the things that they negotiated with were like payout schedule for certain stuff, like the dates of it, real minor things that, like, it almost felt like they were ridiculous to hold the timeline up on. What the hell is slowing things down, and what's the problem with Shemar Stewart?
Yeah, so originally, if you're hearing about this story just on the peripherals, you might think, oh, here's a player who's never played a snap of NFL football thinking that he's worth more than he is. But then you dig deeper into this story and you realize that the Bengals, as you alluded to, they are trying to put forth something in his contract that would literally be unprecedented amongst rookie players. And what they're trying to do is, like, they're trying to make it that if they void any of his bonuses, normally if they void a year of your contract, you only miss out on your roster bonuses for that year. But they're trying to make it where if they were to void him for even 1 year, they would basically void all of his roster bonuses for the rest of his contract. And this is something that no rookie player has ever signed before. And Shemar Stewart and his agent are standing firm, saying that they are not going to be the first to do this. So, as unlikely as it might seem, a lot of trade rumors have already started to bubble up, right? Now, Shemar Stewart has the option to basically sit out an entire year of football and then become eligible for the 2026 draft. However, there are people who theorize that maybe, potentially, the Cincinnati Bengals, if he refuses to sign that contract, I mean, I really don't know how this will end, but there have been a bunch of theoretical trades with a bunch of different teams. One of those teams is the Carolina Panthers. Part of the reason why is we met with him a bunch before the draft, to the point where there were a bunch of mock drafts that had the Panthers taking Shemar Stewart at 8th overall, which was a little bit rich for some, especially when you consider how he only had, I believe, like 3.5 sacks and in 2 years at Texas A&M. So a lot of people are kind of not so high on him, but he was still a game wrecker, had a ton of pressures, one of the most of any edge player in all of college football, and he blew up the combine with incredible testing numbers that were out of the roof, that were even comparable to a Myles Garrett. Now, he was on the same team as Nick Scorton. They are teammates with one another, and Bleacher Report put out a theoretical trade for Shemar Stewart. Now, maybe this is a little more palatable than the Trey Hendrickson trade, but they put forth a trade in which the Panthers would send DJ Wonnum, a 2026 second-round draft pick, and a 2027 fourth-rounder to Cincinnati in exchange for Shemar Stewart. Now, you're pretty much having to determine, do you value DJ Wonnum and his production more right now than the theoretical future production of what Shemar Stewart might become later on in the future? So, I mean, it's very unprecedented. Dude, the Cincinnati Bengals are a dumpster fire, man. Every one of their top players, there's always some sort of contract dispute between them, dating all the way back to Carson Palmer. Joe Burrow had a hard time getting paid. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins damn near threatened to hold out. The Cincinnati Bengals have a lot of egg on their face, but would you be considering of a first-round pick this year for this year's first-rounder from the Bengals, Shemar Stewart?
I mean, I'm open to the idea. Like, I'm open to it. That doesn't seem like it, like you said, that does seem a little bit more palatable. But, I mean, I don't know that. See, the Wonnum part of it is what would hold me up. Like, I think a second and a fourth is reasonable for him. But the only reason I say that is because we already have. I think Wonnum showed some promise at the end of, in that back half of last year. And I don't know that we would want to start to, again, go into this gamble mode and hope that, Shemar Stewart is going to be able to replace the production or, exceed the production. Now, that's not to say that if it happened, I'd be mad. I'm literally a fence sitter on this one. I think that I'm fine either way. If we don't take him and we don't give that type of compensation for it, I'm fine with it. If we do take him and we give him that exact compensation, I'm fine with it. I don't know what the right answer is here, but I do have concerns if we decide to make that choice.
Tony, say something, man. What you think?
You're
muted.
I'm sitting here talking to myself. I wouldn't do it. I think what you did is you invested some not higher, but higher level draft picks in some edge rushers already, and you want to invest them in the future. Selling on a first round pick. If we wanted them in the first round, we would have picked them in the first round.
Right.
You know, I don't think it's as simple as a 1-for-1. I mean, maybe what'd they pick them at?
Pick 17 or 18. The Bengals were on the fringe of the playoffs, so yeah, around 18, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're gambling a little bit too much. And what I mean by that is like you're gambling on these rookies that you went. That's a gamble when you picked Scorton and Prince.
Yeah,
right? Like you're gambling on them and you're putting your money on them. Why would you want to? Are you spreading your money around a little bit too much then? And how are you going to work all these young players in immediately? Are you going to just fast track this player above those guys that you told that you believed in? I think if I was a team that picked 28 this year, I would make that trade and say, you know what, we're getting a value up, even though, I mean, the draft pick won't be the same next year. I don't know. Cody, you think that this would be an aggressive? I almost feel like you could be too young at every place.
Yeah. It also bears repeating. I don't believe that the Panthers have signed Nick Scorton yet. So we're not even done signing our Texas A&M edge rusher.
Right.
And listen, like I know I'm a little more tuned into what he did in college than you guys are necessarily, but the dude is an incredible talent. Like he was a first round pick over Nick Scorton for a reason. Like the dude, if you look at his film, he will literally destroy a tackle and a guard at the same time right in front of him. And he has the type of tools and talent that you can envision being incredible in the next couple of years, especially if you believe in the coaching staff that we have now. A lot of this is also dependent on how you feel of Ejiro Evero, who I know is not a very popular name in Panthers fandom right now. I mean, listen, it's hard to say exactly that it's super worth it because DJ Wonnum, when he did come back on the field last year, he really was incredible. I mean, I don't want to say incredible, but he was able to turn it on in a way that really changed the production of the defensive line last year. So, you know, I don't necessarily know how much better he would be this year over someone like Patrick Jones or DJ Wonnum. Yeah. However, I also do feel that his ceiling is potentially much, and I'm talking much higher than both of those two. So it's one of those things where I don't necessarily think that they will do it, but if you're betting on the future and trying to get him for cheap, then yeah, maybe you would do this.
Yeah. Yeah, if Nick Scorton, I mean, is that true? Is it Sideshow is what he's stating? Is that a lot of second rounders are wanting guaranteed contracts like first rounders? And if so, I think that makes sense given that Nick Scorton was projected to be a first round draft pick this year. From all accounts that he was dealing with, especially at the end of last year. I mean, his I guess the season prior to going into the draft. So, I mean, I could see him wanting that guarantee because of the money that he lost by having the year that he did last year.
All right. Okay, Cody, let's move on to this because this is like so. I mean, I don't know if it's like, should we be so excited? Like, yeah, we're going to give a first round up. We're going to get this top level pick. We're going to be great. We're going to get Trey Hendrickson. We're going to I don't know. Like, I mean, I want everything. It's like you go to the grocery store with your kid. It was like taking a kid to the grocery store. They want every fucking thing.
Yeah.
We want everything. What I really want is to win a little bit. I'm actually I know it looks like I'm distracted. I'm working on stuff for the show. I'm trying to get the giveaway don't forget, we're going to be doing a monthly giveaway a monthly giveaway. That's what we're going to be doing. I don't need to say it each month when you say monthly. We did the June giveaway. Jarrell Rogers won it, came by and picked it up and lives 30 miles away from me. Works 5 minutes away from where I live at, came by and got that swag bag. He got his historic memorabilia, that Panthers metal emblem that was salvaged from Bank of America, plus some flags to go on your car and a Camwell. I'm putting this stuff together right now. This month, we're going to do another historic or relic from Bank of America, another Panther metal emblem, and you're going to get a One Nation, One Voice C3 Panthers Podcast t-shirt and a Home Sweet Home Panthers sign that kind of hangs on the wall in that gift bag. I'm trying to put that together right now. We're going to be giving away that gift bag every third Tuesday of each month for the entire season. We're going to be mixing it up. We've got signed memorabilia coming out, and there's going to be some important ways for you to enter, right? And most importantly is subscribing. What you'd have to do is get that post. I'm going to put this post up. Probably I was trying to get it ready for tonight. Might not have it done. We'll see if I can get through it with the cat calls. But Glean, I run this. It's like a software that kind of tracks how you can enter. And you can enter multiple ways. So you can get 3 entries if you subscribe on YouTube, right? And if you're subscribed on YouTube, you still have to click the link, right? Like, so visit the page, subscribe. If you're already subscribed, you got to click that link. Then you get 3 entries. You know, you repost on X, you follow on X. If you're already following, it should count it, but I would still click on it. And for Cody, if he can hear me, I'm giving 3 entries for every person that follows and subscribes on Kick.
Yeah.
So the way to win this swag bag, and maybe I can get it, I'll show you guys it in a second, is if you get this swag, is to make sure those YouTube and that Kick is the way to get 6 entries for each person. You can get multiple there. So we'll be doing that every third Tuesday. I'll pull that bag out in just a moment. I'm working on it. Oh, is it behind me? Oh, it's right beside me. Look at this. Hey, yo. Look at this sweet little basket of goodies right here. Booyah. All right. So you can win, be the July winner. That's on you, guys. That's on you. The number's 252-228-5098. Cody, is there anything other than straight speculation, or what else we got to talk about, or should we just jump into some
Well, I want to make sure that everybody knows that's kick.com/C3 Panthers Pod, all one word. We're trying to get to 20 subscribers and followers.
We have
on
8
Kick.
right now. Guys, go do it right now. Get us.
Yeah, help us
now.
out. Help us out. Go to kick.com, make an account if you haven't done so already. It really is one of the best streaming platforms that there is right now. It's great for brand new content creators. Get in the chat. Go to kick.com/C3 Panthers Pod. No, not really speculation, but we're going to sort of make some predictions for some of the players on the team this year. Since we've been talking about Trey Hendrickson, and since we've been talking about Shemar Stewart, let's sort of take a look at our edges between Scorton, Human Millen, Patrick Jones, and DJ Wonnum, and just say what we're expecting from these players this year. You have 2 rookies. You have 1 player who was here last year, who wasn't healthy to start the year, but when he did play, came on very strong down the stretch. And you have Patrick Jones, who I believe had 8.5 sacks last year for the Minnesota Vikings. How good do we feel these players are going to be for us this year? Personally, out of all of them, the player that I'm most excited about is Nick Scorton. And literally the year before this year, before his final year at Texas A&M, people were predicting that he would be a top 10 pick the year before in those 2 early mock drafts that people do. He has an incredible ceiling. he has the potential to be an all-pro for the Carolina Panthers. The question is he going to live up to that potential this year? I'm hoping that he will. I think out of all those players, Jimmy Millen, Patrick Jones, and DJ Wonnum, that Nick Scorton is the player that I'm most hopeful for this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, I actually think both of these guys could be straight bosses, right? But like, I like the intensity. Do you remember when they announced his draft pick? He just swiped all the hats off. Like, that's the guy. I was watching Cam Jordan hang out with Cam Newton, and Cam Jordan's one of those players that you hate when he's on somebody else's team, but you love when he's on your team, like as a person. Like, he really is a cool, smart, but and with all of that, he still has this like, I am a dog, and he makes fun of offensive linemen for being fat. He wants to hurt people. He wants to hit people. Like, you need that. You've always said it, Cody. We need some bad boys on this team.
Yeah, man.
So I get that feeling from him.
I agree. I think Nick Scorton has got to be. I don't think we. I hope that he wins, or I hope that he's an impact player. We need him to be a superstar. Like, that's what we need. Like, that, having a defensive line that is dominant with a Derek Brown, with a Nick Scorton, with whomever else we decide to add over the coming years. Like, I want to get back to the years of having that defensive front that was just dirty, right? You had, back in 2015, you had the Star Latulia, KK Short, Mario Addison, obviously, if you want to go back a little bit further, you got the Kraken, right? You have all these like stalwarts at the position, and we just haven't had that. So we really need him to be a superstar.
And speaking of, when we were talking about earlier about trades, and you're talking about these like superstars and like whose team it is, and this, I thought it was awesome when they were talking to Jared about when we traded for Jared Allen in 2015. I think in week 3 is when we made it. After week 2, I think Charles Johnson came down with the injury, and they knew that they were on to something special, it felt like, or they felt like something. I mean, they made the right move. They pulled the trigger. They did the right thing. They got Jared Allen came in, and this guy's a Hall of Famer. Like, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah. He
said this was Luke Kuechly's team. Like, he recognized the greatness of Luke Kuechly. I thought that was incredible, and that's what we need. We need some stalwart, somebody that can not only just be good, but can drag these players across the finish line.
Right. I agree. I think that is how often, when you have those types of players, it just seems like everybody around them plays better. Like, it seems to work out that way. When, we talk about the Luke situation, Thomas Davis wasn't considered an all-star linebacker. Like, he wasn't considered an all-star NFL player at any, point. And then all of a sudden Luke comes around, and now we have a defense that is just playing lights out. I agree. I think that we need to have a guy that this team is like rallying around. And I agree. Nick Scorton seems to have that energy about him that is leadership capable. And honestly, I don't even know if you need to wait until after his rookie year for him to be a leader. I think this dude has the ability year one to come in here and have an impact on this team as a guy who's driving these, doing what you said, Tony, pulling these guys across the finish line.
All right, Cody, what's up next?
Real quick, I wanted to make sure that we didn't miss these super chats from these diehard members of the C3 Legion. Shout out to C-Dog 1983 TV with the $2 C3 bomb. Says C3 Podcast, longest running Panthers podcast on YouTube. And shout out to our boy Just Don't Care with the $5 C3 bomb. Says a few dollars for that C3 savings account. Appreciate you, brother. Man.
We need it in this starving time as we continue to acquire more stuff to give away and get ready for the season. We're going to try to make this season fun as we can, but like all of that fun also ultimately I realize depends on the Carolina Panthers. Jarrell was asking me this when he came and picked up his prize bag. He's like, how's the pod going? And I was like, it's maintaining. You know, it was like we were a rocket ship. We were a rocket ship in like 2020. You know, 2020, like around that, we were just climbing. We were doing all the right things. We're innovative, not innovative, but like bringing play. Like we're doing all of this. Numbers were growing each and every week. And what's hard about this is, or not hard, is like it is sort of, it sucks. It's sort of dependent on the team. Like, I mean, yes, there are continued ways that you can grow your audience. You can make your content innovative. You can expand things on your own. But boy, it's just been starving time for so long. We just need a pop. And I said, like, if we could just get a fucking exciting season, we've got the foundation to continue to grow. And those people that are listening right now are that foundation. We thank you so much.
And you know what we need more than anything else? We just need people to be here with us. We need their input. We need to see you on the free-for-all, see you in the chat, and be in these here cat calls, to which the number is 252-228-5098. Be a part of the longest-running Panthers podcast on the internet. Tony Dunn, you ready to take some calls?
Let's hit it.
Let's do it.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's up, guys? It's the Hope Dealer checking in real quick.
Hope Dealer, what up?
Tuesday, everybody out there. Hey, I wanted to mention, man, y'all, conversation last week on AI had me laughing, in particular with the nicknames, man, for Bryce Young. They had me laughing. So I thought it might be fun this week to pull up AI and see what nicknames they gave me for our new draft picks. And if other people from the Legion want to chime in as well, man, it's kind of funny. So here's my favorite ones. I picked a few. So for Princely, you mommy Ellen, instead of the Royal Flush, we have the Royal Rush.
I love it.
The Royal Rush. For Trevor ETN, AI spit out Easy-E, like the rapper, Easy-E, which stands for End Zone ETN, baby. End Zone ETN. For Latham Ransom, they said when he tackles, he leaves a ransom note. For Mitchell Evans, we got Mitchell Missile, or the Mitchell Missile. And for Jimmy Horn Jr., J3, stand for Jimmy Jet Jr. But, hey, boys, I just wanted to say this. When it comes to AI, I remember y'all talk about replacing jobs and everything. But let me tell you one job AI could never replace, and that's the best damn Panther fans this side of the internet, baby. The C3 Legion.
Let's go.
Y'all out there. This the Hope Dealer checking in. Everybody out there, key.
Pound. And that's all we need, Tony. We just need fans like that over everything else, and we'll be fine forever.
Did you do the AI chat on the Friday free throw?
The AI
did we
chat?
do that last week? I can't remember.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
What he was saying is the AI nicknames. I wonder if that was a Spaces. Did we do that even on the show? I felt like I was blackout by the end of last Tuesday. Anyway,
I don't remember doing it, but I do love the nicknames. I think there's some cool ones. I like that Royal Pass Rush from Princely Human Millen.
Or man, is I think that Ransom should have that celebration where he signs it and then leaves a note.
Yeah, sign it.
If he punches a ball out or if he intercepts the ball or something like that, I agree.
I think you should go straight for the fine, where you're like, okay, taking the fine, and have a sticky note stuffed in your sock, and you write and you put the note on them.
You know that's a for sure flag if you do, right?
Well, I mean, it all comes back to there were some cool ones. And I love this part of they try to kill celebrations in the NFL for a while. Now they brought them back, and now they're trying to worry about if they're non-violent enough. But there was a couple of big ones T.O. had kept, or was it Chad Ochocinco? I think it was T.O. that had the Sharpie in his sock and then signed the football, like he autographed the football after a touchdown. And then one was also by the father of a Carolina Panthers player, not J.C. Horn, but Jimmy Horn pre-stuffed a cell phone in the padding of the field goal thing, and when he caught the touchdown, he ran in there and made a phone call. Like it was
Michael Thomas did it.
Michael Thomas did.
He did that after he broke the record.
He did the same thing.
Yeah, he had that. Yeah, it was a homage, I think, to Horn, but he did that as well a few years back when he was at the height of his career. But yeah, that would be 100%. I think that would make for incredible TV. If nothing else, even if we didn't go that far, if our media team isn't doing some sort of like crazy video editing and having like the him when he takes the ball out of the air, just have like a sticky note in the hands of the receiver saying, ransom. So
incredible. Like y'all got to listen to the show and listen to these calls. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next one.
And Joe Horn, yeah, that's right.
Allcast brothers, how y'all doing? G Cavassier. Yeah, I know it's been a while. I've been enjoying the shows. I really have. Enjoying the Friday free falls too.
Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, quick question. I was looking at something online today, and they saying it's a possibility that Stephon Gilmore can come back to the Panthers. What do y'all think on that? My opinion, I would love for him to come back to Carolina. Yes, I know he got a little bit slower because he's getting long in the tooth. But in my eyes, that dude, James Ramsey, there's his name, this dude out of Miami. I would love for those dudes to come to Carolina because you have that veteran leadership. And another thing, I'm going to put you guys in a situation. We need help at safety. Justin Blackman is still out there. So is what's that dude's name? Justin Simmons too, man. And I looked it up online. When he was part of Double E's defense, this dude had 6 interceptions. So who would you take, Justin Simmons or Justin Blackman? If I pronounce Simmons' first name, if his name is Justin, I don't know, Simmons. Because I know last year he played for the
Justin Simmons.
Carolina Falcons. But Simmons or Blackman, who would you take? And would you kick the tires on Stephon Gilmore? Or try to get the dude from Miami Dolphins to come to Carolina? Give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Take this one.
Yeah, you mentioned a few names. Obviously, Stephon Gilmore being a Carolina native always has that ring to it. But, he was here before. We ended up letting him go to extend Diontae Jackson. How'd that turn out? But Gilmore, he's older, man. He's a little bit longer in the tooth. I think we talked about it last week with Justin Simmons. He would be a good signing just because the depth at safety is so bad. I don't know, as much as people would like to make an addition to the defensive backfield, I kind of don't think we will. I kind of feel like they trust in Damani Richardson, Trevon Moore, Lathan Ransom to be the guys to fill in at those spots. Now, if that's a good idea, I don't know yet. But if they trust them enough to run with them, then I have to imagine that, that we should trust it too, I am very hopeful about Lathan Ransom. I think Lathan Ransom can step in and be a really good player very early on this year, maybe even sooner than some of the dudes drafted above him, like Trevor Etienne and even Princely Human just because there's not a lot of depth in front of him at that safety position. So, yeah, I think that we're probably going to go forward with the defensive backfield as it is. And I think I'm okay with that. I don't love it, because I don't love Diontae Richardson. I don't know how y'all feel about him. But
I mean, like, you're excited about a young player who could become a player, but like, I mean, how can you be in love with a player if you haven't barely seen him play, right? Like, I mean, that's the. I mean, look, even Cody's growing old in front of your own eyes. Because 5 years ago, this Cody be like, Diontae Richardson, he's the savior. We got a 6th-round pick. He's gonna do that.
I would never say no
do that. Like, he had some good reps, you know what I'm saying? But like, how can you get excited about anybody at this point? We've like wasted all of our excitement in the past.
Yeah. By the way, you can probably see the gray hairs popping up in my beard. That's how you know I'm getting older. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Diontae Richardson just doesn't do a lot for me. But like I said, that's why I'm hopeful that Lathan Ransom can come in here and make an impact a little bit sooner than people might be expecting him to. He mentioned Stephon Gilmore, but I don't know. Like, who are y'all more comfortable with at this juncture in the ball game? Mike Jackson or a 33, 34-year-old Stephon Gilmore?
I think Stephon Gilmore going into this slot would be fine.
Sure.
But I mean, if it's between Mike Jackson and Stephon Gilmore, I'm taking Mike Jackson. And that sounds odd, but like, Stephon Gilmore hasn't been like a lights out cornerback. He's been a middle of the pack cornerback since since he left here, or really even when he was here. That doesn't mean he's a bad player, by the way. That's not me trying to crap on him. I think he's had a great career, but I don't think that he has been I don't think he's been a top 10 at his position since that year that he won the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. Yeah. It is older.
Right. Guys, we're going to take one more call. Stick around because I got the giveaway up and running. So you guys can get early access to it if you hang around and chat with us on the podcast. You can go ahead and get your early entries in. The number is 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, John B. Jenkins here, back after a break from last week. I was down in Florida visiting my mom, and I got rear-ended, so that kind of put me
sorry to hear, man.
For a week, but I am back with an update on some alternative football leagues, especially an update on the European League of Football, and an update on your favorite team in that league, the Panthers Wroclaw. Well, starting off, the Panthers find themselves at 2-3, but they are up against, once again, the Fehérvár Enthroners of Hungary, and those mofos can't do jack. So we're probably going to get back to the 500 column at 3-3 because everybody beats Fehérvár. We kind of dethroned them. Anyway, moving on down to Mexico in the La Liga de Fútbol Americano Profesional. My Monterrey Osos, or the Osos de Monterrey, have finished as the number 2 seed in the league.
Nice.
At, 8-2. And our quarterback, Shelton Epler, has become the best quarterback in the league. He's got a completion rate of 74% and touchdown to interception ratio of 20 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So,
oh wow,
things are looking good for the Osos. They'll play the 4 seed in their playoff, and hopefully they make it to the championship game. In other leagues, the National Arena League just wrapped up their championship game. The Beaumont Renegades won for the first time in their existence. The Women's Football Alliance, that's right, women's football, not lingerie, but women's football in pass, is in mid-season, and you can check out the highlights of those games on YouTube. You've got to go check those out. It's very interesting to see. I mean, these are legit big-ass women playing football with pads and everything. The CFL, I think, is going into week 3 or 4 maybe, and those games are super exciting, so definitely catch the highlights of those on YouTube. And if you want to watch the games, CFL does this thing called CFL Plus that allows you to sign up and watch the games in the States for free. You just got to deal with their weird spellings of things. Like they spell offense with a C. Explain that to me. Then there's the Arena League, And my favorite team in that league, the Ozark Lunkers. If you have not seen
What a name.
their walkout song about Lunky the fish, he's humongous, y'all. He's a humongous fish, and you should check that out. Anyway, that's about all I have for your alternative league updates. Like keeping you guys updated on these things, and hopefully the Panthers roster will get back in the win column, like I said. But as always, keep pounding Carolina Panthers, keep pounding Panthers Frosh and keep pounding C3 Panthers.
Thank
Keep
you,
pounding, brother.
John B. Jenkins. Wonderful stuff. And what those names? This is what I love about not alternative, like he said. What he said, alternative football or alternative, but I love minor league baseball because they're wonky and wacky.
Yeah, well, the bananas.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, you were breaking up
yeah,
a
that's
little bit.
like a special, like that's a special one. Like that's, but like even if you, like it's always like we had a great name for the team. What were we? The Wood Ducks, the Kinston Wood Ducks, or Eastern North Carolina Wood Ducks. They already took it away. It was only here for 2 years. We have a great minor league field in Kinston, North Carolina. It's 30 minutes from where I live. It's historic, like really old world baseball field to it. It's just a beautiful place to go and hang out. And I want the next team to be named the Fire Ants. Like, I mean, it's just like, it's like, what kind of logo would you have would be awesome. Like, I mean, it's fun. A minor league. Oh, and by the way, JJ Jansen, I just read this, is part owner of the Charlotte Checkers, who is a minor league hockey team, and they were like the minor league hockey Stanley Cup or whatever it's called, championship. So interested. I think we should go. I am all for the Eastern North Carolina Fire Ants, Kinston Fire Ants. I love minor league sports, or as John B. Jenkins, maybe I think he described as alternative sports. Which
I tried to shout out to John B. I tried to find the entrance song for the Ozark Lunkers, and it's just highlights. But if you have a clip to it, just message me or drop it in the chat, and I'll throw it up. But yeah, it sounds pretty cool.
All right, let's keep rolling with the calls.
Hey guys, listen, this is Panther Pickle. I just got an idea, and I thought about this today. G-Baby is the jinx. Now, hear me out. We all know he come in, Bryce rookie year, hyped up Bryce in off season, build him up to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. He was the king, he was the super Bryce, he was everything. Well, Bryce come in and played god-awful. G-Baby nowhere to be found. Week 2, G-Baby, or year 2, G-Baby comes in.
You're breaking up. Hey, Pickle. Tony. Tony. He doesn't know that you muted the cat call.
You muted the cat call.
Even think about
disagreeing. Yeah, you muted the whole call.
Oh my god!
And be careful. G-Baby going to drop and play god awful. G-Baby.
That's a good way to get my attention.
Yeah,
man. Put me on blast.
Hey guys, listen, this is Panther Pickle. I just got an idea, and I thought about this today. G-Baby is the jinx. Now hear me out. We all know he come in, Bryce rookie year, hyped up Bryce in off season, build him up to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. He was the king, he was the super Bryce, he was everything. Well, Bryce come in and played god awful. G-Baby nowhere to be found. Week 2, G-Baby, or year 2, G-Baby comes in off season, hypes Bryce up, got a new coach, everything's going to be great. Bryce Young was take us to playoffs. What happened? Bryce looked awful, ends up getting benched. G-Baby nowhere to be found. Now, Bryce looked better in later games, but we still lost the games. So now, then, the third off season, G-Baby's hyping up Bryce, King Bryce, attacking people who even think about disagreeing with everything. And be careful, G-Baby going to drop out again if Bryce starts playing bad. I believe G-Baby is the jinx to Bryce Young.
Oh, shit. Keep pounding. You heard it here first. G-Baby, you've been called a jinx, bro. You're the reason Bryce doesn't play well. And then when you disappear, it's an even worse jinx. Damn, bro, that's fucked up.
That will hurt a man's feeling. That will make a G-Baby cry. Actually, you know what? It'll make him call in and be like, what about to hit the beep.
Dude, y'all don't see. We're all in a group chat together on X. And G-Baby and Pickle, they stay going at it, man.
Do they?
Yeah.
You know what? There's nothing more in the world that gives me anxiety than group chats. I
can tell you're in all of them, but we don't ever see you.
No, I look at them and they're always it stresses me the fuck out. I created one for my kids, so I could just send them the same text, and I don't even like it. I was like, I just rather message you individually. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey, it's Briar calling. So it's a slow news cycle. Not too many questions that we really got going on that we can ask, but I guess just to stir the pot, due to the depth that we have at wide receiver, I know we keep having the questions regarding who's going to be the wide receiver for this year. Is there any possibility, or does anybody on the show think there's a possibility that due to performance during training camp and the preseason and the younger guys showing what they're capable of, that Carolina possibly trades Adam Thielen this year? Keep in mind, for this training camp, we do have better depth at a lot of other positions. So even though you're not showing a big playbook, there is a possibility of having better outings in these preseason games than in recent years when they have a reliable offensive line, even as backups and backup quarterbacks throwing them the ball. Again, just a question.
Yeah, great one.
What do you guys think?
Great question is really turning your focus to the preseason. We saw not only about playbook familiarity and having that offensive line, like the caller mentioned. I think it was Cody or CK that mentioned it was it would be malpractice if we didn't play. Maybe it was a caller. They didn't play Bryce Young at all, hardly in that preseason. And I'll be curious to see how they approach the preseason differently going forward.
Yeah, we can even bring this up. I had this in the show later, but it's a good time to show it. Well, what do you want to do first? You want to talk about the Panthers wide receiver bubble, or you want to play the Ozark Lunker song that John B just sent me?
I think we should just keep having fun right now. We got people audibly laughing in the background. We're having a great time.
Yeah.
A couple of things is Will Horsley says Jinx Baby is hilarious. Right. So way to get that dig in there. And also, if you check the links I dropped in, all the socials in the chat, that's the best way to enter the contest right there. You click that link and you can click all the links from there, and it'll make sure to award you all the entries, and you can enter to win that Panthers swag bag, like we said, that has a historic piece of Panther memorabilia that was salvaged from Bank of America Stadium. So you guys go ahead and get into that. And now tell me, what the hell are we looking at or listening to?
This is Gucci. Let me see. It's Gucci Bucci. And this is the opening song for the Ozark Lunkers.
Yes. Scoochie Boochie. Have you ever seen a fish in a helmet? Well, it's Lunky. He is an arena football mascot. Dash got Lunkers fever. Everybody Ozarks knows our team's the best.
Damn.
Lunkers, yes. Ozarks Lunkers, yes. Ozarks Lunkers, yes. Ozarks Lunkers, yes. You wanna know what a lunker is? It is a humongous fish. It is not a certain species. It is any fish that is big.
It's any fish that's big.
Not a toe tapper, but really it's a fin. We got full snappers, long and big. Measuring bass, set the record for weight. Intercepted the pass, that's the catch of the day. Ran it to the end zone,
intercepted.
and the whole crowd yelling, "Go fish!" Ozarks, lunkers, yes. Ozarks, lunkers, yes. Ozarks, lunkers, yes. Ozarks, lunkers,
yes.
Go fish.
Oh, yes.
Go fish. Go fish.
Go fish.
Go fish. Go fish. Go fish.
Yeah.
I gotta get an Ozark Lunker hat. I'm ordering it tonight. I'm actually on the internet right as we speak. I need a Lunker hat.
Go fish. Go fish. Go fish. Go
He said
fish.
intercepted. He intercepted.
Bro, he said we're literally in a big fish. We're not even a certain one. Oh, dude, that was awesome.
Is great.
Dude, do the applause for John B, man. That was great.
That was go fish. Go fish.
Go
That
fish.
is, I'm telling you, minor league or like alternative sports are incredible. Alternative sports. That sounds so weird. Yeah, lunkers. What are they called? The
Ozark Lunkers.
Ozark. All right, go ahead. You take the conversation up as I try to buy a hat.
Yeah, man. No, this is one of the conversations that we've been having a lot on the Friday Free For All. It's about who will make the roster in this receiver room, because there's a lot of names, right? We talked about last week. Joe Person sort of sent Panthers Twitter and the internet ablaze by saying that Jalen Coker was not a lock for this roster. Then you have a bunch of people who do not believe Hunter Renfrow will ever be the same ever again. Then Jimmy Horn Jr. didn't participate in the final OTAs due to a hamstring injury. And those speedsters normally have a lot of hamstring injuries. So it's having a lot of people wonder, what is this final wide receiver room going to look like? So who do we all feel is going to make this team? Are you confident in Hunter Renfrow? Are you confident in Jimmy Horn Jr.?
Who had that hamstring injury?
Jimmy Horn Jr.
Oh, the new baby boy?
Yeah.
Yep.
The speedster. I think Hunter Renfrow is going to be. I think he's certainly going to make it, just based on all the reports coming out from people on the team and everything. Like the dude apparently is. I think the article that I had read today, which was Joe Person's article as well, mentioned that his teammates call him a joystick. Like the dude just has the ability to like run routes really well, like make people miss, things like that. So I think just based on some of the hype coming out around Hunter Renfrow, I think he's going to make it. Now that doesn't mean I think Jimmy Horn is not going to. I think they're going to still keep him on the roster for the purpose of like a kick returner.
I think he might practice squad it, dude. He could be a
know.
practice squad candidate. Like everybody, I don't know why people are so effing hype about him. And look, I'm not trying to but where did the hype come from? Does it have something to do with being on the Dion team in Colorado? Why is he?
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, what is it that just makes him so? I feel like people were talking about him in a sense, as he's a lock to be good, great. I'm like, damn, I didn't know 6th-round picks were I know they can come out of nowhere every now and then, but people are so excited about this beyond.
The last time that we saw this type of a hype for a guy who didn't really warrant the type of hype was last year with Jalen Coker. And that turned out, and I think that it's worth keeping, I think, Jimmy Horn on, because I think he has a lot of upside. And we'll see. We haven't really had a true speedster in the wide receiver room for Bryce Young. And so I'll be interested to see how that transitions this year. But I agree. I think Tony is nailing the head right there. I don't know that he is a guaranteed lock, but I do think they're going to give him an opportunity.
I feel how many guys have you said this about in the
Did you freeze, Tony?
What was the guy that we used to argue about all the time?
Shy Smith.
Shy Smith. Like, this is to me a Shy Smith.
Well, okay. I think part of the hype is, one, he did play at Colorado, but two, and CK already alluded to it a little bit, having that really elite speedster on this roster is not something that Bryce Young has had at his disposal.
And I don't know if he can really truly take advantage of. I got something mean to say about that later.
Well, I mean, also, you might tend to think deep ball, like deep downfield on go routes, and if Bryce can get the ball there. But I also think just the ability to be a separator, I'm not comparing him 1-for-1 to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, but what those guys were able to do in space for Tagovailoa, I think is a part of the intrigue of what Jimmy Horn can do. And also, Tony, part of the reason why he fell that far is the dude's 176 pounds soaking wet. You know what I mean? So
he's Damiere Byrd.
Well, but he doesn't quite have that.
Damiere Byrd had that speed, bro. That's a Damiere Byrd player right there.
Yeah, and you love Damiere Byrd.
I did love him. I love him. I loved him. I still love him. That he gets hated on by all y'all. I just don't understand where it's we would be willing to sacrifice a better player at the. I don't know. I feel like he is practice squad-ish. I mean, maybe I think honestly, how players like that, and this is what he's got going for him, is that they believe he could be a presence on special teams as a punt returner.
That's going to be where he makes his money.
And that's how those guys do it.
Well, that is in all fairness, that is the Steve Smith approach, right? That's what got him more reps on the offense, is how he was able to perform on special teams. What was it? His rookie year, he was all pro on the return game, right? Wasn't he a Pro Bowler that year?
Yeah, I mean, I think his rookie year.
Yeah, as a returner. And so I think that he's got to earn his stripes. He wasn't drafted high. He wasn't coming from a situation where people were like, this dude's going to be a superstar right out of the gate. So he's got to earn it. Have you guys ever played Madden franchise mode? And you have a choice. If you have a choice between being a late round draft pick, but which means you maybe don't progress as quickly, but you don't have any expectations, right? But it allows you the ability to kind of surprise the world and be an underdog. Why you do have the option to be a top pick, like a top 10 pick, but the expectations are heavy, but you can progress a lot faster. I think that we're kind of that would be the way that I would equate this with Jimmy Horn, is does he have the ability to probably be a really good player in the league? Absolutely. But he's going to take a lot more work than maybe somebody who's been here in the, who was drafted in the top, in the first round.
I don't want to get away from this conversation. I want to list out the receivers I think that are going to make it. We think are going to make it. Can we highlight this comment right here? This from Blind Panther Vlogs. Is this Joey?
Yeah.
I have so many questions here. He said we could pull up some women's football highlights just so we can thirst. He wants to
hear us describe the curves of women's lingerie football.
So we describe it, and then
maybe I'm guessing. I have no idea, dude.
I was like, I want to know how that's gonna happen.
All right, here's the clip, guys. I'm pulling it up. Wow, this Janine running down the field. Gravity doesn't seem to impact her. This is wild. This is wild.
To impact her. Man, she got smashed.
She has asked to break some tackles. Let me tell you. Caught the ball right in between her tits. Incredible. Perfect. Okay. We love it.
All right. Back to wide out depth competition. You brought this up as Joe Person. I was actually disappointed in Joe. I won't say his discipline. I felt like he backtracked a little to the fan base when he put out Coker could be on the bubble, And he's like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it to be like that. I didn't mean to upset y'all. Or at least that's how I interpret it. And look, it's an honest thing, right?
I think I don't think I read it that way. I think I read it a little bit differently. I think I read it as like he was being a bit of a smart, being a bit of smart aleck, if you will. And then he was like, but I did make a mistake in not putting him on that list. It wasn't intentional. Right. So I think he legitimately made a mistake. I don't think he was bowing to the fan base because like when you see him on social media with everything else, he has no problem. Like, when you look at the situation that he was in with the Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard thing, right? Like he was just like, people were saying like, that's not true. And then he was like, funny because the team didn't correct anything I said, and it's just like, yeah, so he's not afraid to go toe to toe with the fans,
right?
I just think that I think he genuinely made a mistake.
Okay, all right. So when we talk about this list, I mean, we're talking about Tet, we're talking about XL, we're talking about Adam Thielen. Those feel like 3 locks, right? Who's number 4.
Yeah. So do we think that Jalen Coker is a lock?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm okay with saying that. Yeah, I think that's a player, a pup you're trying to bring up, right?
Yeah.
So that's 4.
Yeah.
Right?
So XL, Adam Thielen, Nalo, Coker, 2 more. I mean, and also, how many do you think we're keeping?
I think
Because I would say 6. I would say 6. And look, man, Hunter Renfrow is going to make this roster, y'all.
I agree.
I will die on this hill. Hunter Renfrow is going to be our Adam Thielen for the foreseeable future. He's that type of player. He's a former Pro Bowler. The dude can separate with the best of them. He just has to be healthy, and I feel like he wouldn't have signed to a team unless he was healthy. So, yeah, man, I believe Hunter Renfrow is a lot to make this roster, and a lot of Panther fans are doubting him. They don't believe that he has it in him anymore.
I don't know. Well, anymore. That's what it is you have to say anymore, because before we learned about why he had to take that year hiatus, sabbatical, reprieve from the NFL, he was one of the elite separate players, right? Like of a guy that
great route runner.
Yeah, like the guy that does it like an Edelman. You know what I mean? Like these guys that not gadget players, but just have it. They just got it. Like, and he was always on a bad team. I think it would be silly for the Carolina Panthers I almost feel like he could be more of an impact than Adam Thielen. That's crazy. I know it sounds bizarre to say, but he is that caliber of player.
Yes. He really is.
Is there any surprise people that you think don't make the roster from this wide receiver room? I mean, I think that's probably the better answer here.
Well, I think it comes down to this: is the 3 names on the list, at least for me, that are like that you're making selections from are Renfrow, David Moore, and Horn Jr.
Yeah.
Like those are somebody like I don't think all 3 can make them.
I think it depends upon how Horn handles return duties. I think the only way we keep 7, but I think the only way we do is with Horn showing that he is an asset in the return game.
That's where he has to prove it, because he's not a better receiver on day 1.
Yeah, exactly. Than any of those guys. I think David Moore is the odd man out here. Like, I just don't think that. I think he came back. I think he's been somewhat reliable in this offense, but he was never really a game changer. He made some game impacting catches that were pretty spectacular last year, to be fair. But
he's a guy that can survive in the league, CK, right?
Yeah.
Like he survived in the league, but he's always, I bet every team he's been on, he's been in this same exact conversation.
He was for the Clemson Tigers. He was a walk-on. People doubted him. He was a 4th-round pick for the Raiders. People doubted him, and he goes on to ball out. So when I see someone like G Baby and his or Jinx Baby rather, Yeah, that's how I know I'm feeling good about him when G doesn't believe in him, bro.
Oh, okay. We got mixed up. He was talking. He's on that Renfro train. We're talking David Moore. I was like, David Moore was in Seattle and Tampa. Right. I mean, he's a good player. David Moore is he's a Jason Avant.
Yeah.
You know, I want to catch the ball. Right. Like, I mean, he's a good player to have on your team, but he's always one of those players that's not like he's just scrapping, you know.
But here's the thing is, who would you rather have, David Moore or Hunter Renfro?
I think Renfro here.
Yeah.
I think that you're not trying to like, I think last year David Moore is a great player on this team because you needed somebody that could go out there and get shit done. But right now you're talking about guys that are just trying to scrap into the I mean, think about if you put David Moore on this roster, what plays are you playing him on? You know, like where are you sitting the other guys in moments? And you go, you know what? We want David Moore on this play.
Yeah.
And we don't want XL. We don't want the Adam Thielen. We don't want, you know, like, or whatever the list is I think David Moore is a fantastic player, like a great.
He's a great locker room guy
that survives in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just don't know that you give away the potential that is a Jimmy Horn, or you give away a potential that is like maybe a comeback from a guy like Hunter Renfro, who has proven to do it at a high level in the team in the league. I don't know that David Moore takes that spot. I think the only reason he really had the opportunity last year to have the impact he did is because Diontae Johnson had the crash out that he did.
Yes. Yeah. He would not have had those reps. And he's a guy that actually does it. Like he can be that dude when you need him to be it. It's just you don't. He's good. He's good, not great.
Yeah.
I agree. I like him, man. I'm not trying to dump on him at all, but I don't think like if I had to come down to this roster bubble right here and I looked at the type of weapons we had, right? So we got the big body XL. We got this game changer in Tet. We've got the seasoned fantastic player of Adam Thielen.
Yep.
Like, then you are trying to usher up a guy like Horn Jr., who you think maybe can be something. And then Renfro is a guy that imagine if Adam Thielen went down. Like you can put Renfro or you can move like I mean, like he can he's a vet, but he's also not just a vet. Like he's a talented ass motherfucker. I mean, maybe I'm just hoping that he will be the player he was 3 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, the player I needed him to be when I was playing fantasy and I'd had him on my team and he just didn't do anything for me. Like that's the player I needed him to be, is that the player that we wanted to be now with the Panthers. So it's I'm hopeful with Renfro. I just, again, I'm not willing to gamble on David Moore or give away the potential of any of these younger guys in the hopes of keeping David Moore on roster.
Y'all do us a solid right now if you're listening. I mean, obviously, if you hear my voice, you are. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button on YouTube or wherever you're at. Repost, and really helps us grow by taking the link and sending it to people. And one way you can send is just like reposting it and sharing it on social media. But like what I feel really makes a difference is knowing somebody that would vibe with this community. Like identifying a friend that you have and say, look, I rock with this podcast. Here, just check it out. You do that one subscriber at a time. Our goal this season, it's a lofty goal, Cody. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube.
This season?
Yeah. It's a long ways away. We got to get 3,000 subscribers, more than 3,000 subscribers. It's a big goal.
What is our stretch goal? What is the, let me rephrase. What is the reward for getting that done?
Oh,
the accomplishment itself.
Well, one, we'll get a plaque from YouTube.
Really? At 10,000?
I think so. That's what my kid told me.
I don't know if it is 10,000. It might be 100,000. I'm not sure.
You don't get nothing. We'll get a gift.
I don't know.
How about this? Is if we get to 10,000 subscribers, I'm gonna give away a jersey this year. I'm gonna give away 2 jerseys.
Yeah, I think that's 2 a good
jerseys. Goal. All right. Is that enough on that receiver conversation, Cody? Or you got something else you want to say about it? All right. Let's take another call then.
Yo. What's up, C3 Panthers from Charlotte?
What's up, man?
Calling from here. It's 90 degrees out. Just insanely hot here.
Oh, that's 10 degrees.
Everyone stay safe and hydrate, man.
Cooler than where I live at.
Anyways, want to talk about the Panthers. Yesterday we had a great space. A lot of topics were brought up. Kind of last Friday's free-for-all as well. Kind of dived into this. But I just want to say, like, I believe in our quarterback, man. I know a lot of people aren't really convinced about what he was able to do, in the last 10 games of the season. I personally think that it was the first time in his short, young career that we've actually seen the confident Bryce Young, the Alabama Bryce Young, the guy that, we were sold on fully. I think we've seen the breakout performances. I think he had a couple good games his rookie year. I still think he showed a ton of flashes in his rookie year through all the bad parts of it. But I think a point I'm trying to hammer home here is I just don't think fans are quite understanding how bad of a situation he was in. I brought up the analogy yesterday. He basically got, adopted to a home that the husband didn't even really want to adopt the child and had to get convinced by his wife to do it. In terms of like Frank Reich, there was a bunch of that stuff afterwards that, he didn't want Bryce Young. And then, we go into this past season where you're dealing with a rookie head coach that didn't draft him either, a rookie GM who knows what his thoughts were on Bryce. If I'm honest, I'd probably say they were all pretty bullish on him. And I really only think towards the end of the season, in the final press conferences at the end of the year, they were saying the truth about how they believe in him. But this is all the same, man. He's been put in a bad situation. I see a lot of people talking about, well, what if Bryce doesn't do this? Listen, man, I ain't thinking about that. And the reason is because I'm not willing to go through more years of terrible Panthers football, man. I really do think this could be the year where we kind of break the curse and have a positive season and a winning record. Listen, I graduated college, and the last time the Panthers were good, the second season of Fortnite came out. That was in fucking 2017, man. I'm sick of being bad, and I'm not just sitting here being delusional. I truly think he's going to have a good season. I truly think this team is built a lot better than it was 2 years ago. I like pretty much most of the moves. 90% they did in the offseason. So give me.
There you go.
Anthony from Charlotte, thank you for the call. I just ordered a Lumpkey t-shirt. I was gonna order a hat, but they don't have any flat build.
Shout out John B. Jenkins.
Yeah, John B. You just made them $38, $7 for shipping.
So this is a good time to bring this up too. He's talking about Bryce and how, what I maintained is that Bryce was not the number one choice of Frank Reich. He was the number one choice of David Tepper. And hey, if Bryce ends up being incredible, we're gonna have to give David Tepper his kudos for making the move up to number one. But I do think that Anthony is correct in my assertion that I originally put out that he wasn't the guy that was originally wanted here in Carolina. Now, a lot of people are reevaluating Bryce Young and what he was last year. Bryce Young's sophomore year looked rough on paper, but just 2,403 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 82.2 overall rating. But check the finish. Over his last 5 games, he posted 1,222 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 94.9 rating. If that late season of Bryce shows up in 2025, we might already have our quarterback 1. I've been putting this out on Twitter. How important is this year for Bryce? Does he get that year 4 to determine if he is the guy, kind of like Tua Tagovailoa did? Or is this a make it or break it year for Bryce Young?
I wouldn't go make it or break it, but I would say it's incredibly important. You know what? It's a you can break it year, right? Like if he is bad, then you broke it. But if he is good, average to good to better, you made it. You made it to year 4. And when I watched him doing that, what was it that you saw in the Fanatics thing where he's throwing it around and he's dropping them?
Yeah, I can bring that up.
It's great. Look, is the velocity like he is? It's like he's a touch. It's like a touch player, you know. Did the velocity matter to you? Does that matter in the NFL? You know, so when you were saying the Horn Jr. guy can run down, can you zip it as far? Like he hasn't. Again, it's an Alex Smith type arm. You know, is it? He's a precision type player. This is how I play ping pong. Actually, it's like I don't be like his. I mean. Like he's got the touch, like he knows how to get it.
Yeah, this is Bryce Young dropping dimes.
Yeah,
at the Fanatics over the cardboard cutouts of players. So again, no pass rush on him, but yeah, my boy's out here dropping dimes. I mean, look, he doesn't have a terrible.
The ball's getting there. No, I mean the ball gets there. Like I mean, he can get it the distance. It's not like he doesn't have the arm to make it to where it needs to go. He's not throwing him on the. He's a touch play. He's a touch passer.
Yeah, he definitely is.
And in that contest, that's actually what you're trying to do, right? Like you're trying to be accurate. You're not trying to be, you know.
Yeah.
But it is a very. I just don't know how excited I get about this. Like I am excited. Like I mean,
there's no rusher in his face. This is not like some.
And he's not zipping it. Like I mean, there's no. Secondary, like you got to put it.
There's
in
no
a
bounce.
window.
There's no it's just you're right.
This is what you want to do in this situation, though, right?
Right.
So I'm ready for it. I'm excited about him, guys. Like this year, I'm hopeful because we need it to work. If he does not work, it sets us back. That's what our whole last season of this podcast was.
So listen, I'll just say it like this, man. If Bryce Young does not take that giant step forward this year, bro, how about Cade Klubnik will be available through the draft? Tony, your boy, Lenoris Sellers, Cam Newton with glasses is going to be available in the draft. Like, if Bryce wants us to start fawning over these young quarterback prospects that are coming to the draft, bro, we need to see it this year, man. That Bryce that stepped up last year, the one that this post was talking about, that showed up at the end of the season, it better be that Bryce Young. Or else, man, we're going to be looking forward. We're going to be seeing what else is out there. So you may not think it's make or break, and hell, the organization might not. But I think if you're Canales and if you're Dan Morgan, this is, you're trying to win right now. This is probably the year for Bryce.
Yeah. The number's 252. Actually, we only got one call left. So
but do it. I mean, that was pretty much our last slide, man.
Good. And we're going to take this call. We're going to end it. I want to not end it, but I want to show you guys this is the giveaway. The July giveaway is hot and bothered already. 12 entries already into the July giveaway. You guys make sure that you let your friends know. continue to grow the podcast. Subscribing on YouTube and Kick gets you more entries than anything. But again, I'm gonna drop the link right now. If you use this link, you get the most opportunity to win because it tracks all of the entries instead of just manually entry, like things like that. And again, we're invested in the podcast. We appreciate your support. Small things do cost things. Like, not only do we purchase these items to give away and stuff like that, and the shipping and stuff. Like, I was just complaining about the $7 of shipping, which is actually a fair price. I had to pay for the software to do giveaways to keep up with it. So we appreciate you guys, and the way that you can help us is actually just participate in the giveaways. Doing all those things help that money that we spent mean something. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast. We were on the air last week with Wesley Walls. I do have a talent for disarming people with thoughtful questions. And I started off with, when I say Crocodile Dundee and pickpocket, what comes to your mind? And I think that's when we had him, other than he already loved Cody. Thank you so much, Cody, for making that happen. Let's go to the final call of the night. I can't.
Are you playing it? I don't.
TV. Man, whenever you come in here, can you
see dog?
What's going on, everybody? It's me, C-Dog 1983 TV. Man, whenever you come in here, can you please hit the like button? Can you please subscribe to the great content? The C3 Podcast is the longest running podcast on YouTube. The C3 Podcast go live every Tuesday. They got a free for all every Friday. And during the season, they have the Madden game simulation. Then on Sunday, they have the game recap. But my personal opinion, we don't need Trey Hendrickson. I just don't. We don't need him. Dan Morgan, just everybody just keep their pennies in the bunch. Get their pennies out the bunch, and just calm down. Let Dan Morgan do what Dan Morgan doing. Let Dan Morgan cook. David Tepper is finally sitting back and shut the fuck up. Like we are back to being a real NFL franchise. So everybody should be happy about that. We are making all the right moves. Dan Morgan made all the right moves in free agency, even in the draft. He nailed the fucking draft, So I don't see the point in going to get a Trey Hendrickson, and then we will have to give up draft picks, and we got to pay him. It doesn't make any sense. Then everybody who we brought in, all the free agents we brought in, are like 25 years old. Like, we are building for the future, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this upcoming season. I'm excited to see what Eazy-E gonna do with this defense. Everybody talking about Evero, I just can't wait to Evero, Eazy-E, and Bryce Young, the Grim Reaper, come out here and shut everybody the fuck up this goddamn upcoming season. I'm just so ready for it, So like I said, whenever you come in here, make sure you support the content, man. The guys do a great job. They're always consistent. The last and by probably like 11, 12 years. I can't even keep count. I know over a decade, Everybody keep pounding, what I'm saying?
Keep pounding.
Everybody keep pounding, man. Everybody have a great fucking week. I hope everybody have a goddamn good 4th of July. And Greg, what's up,
Yes,
Greg?
sir.
Man, we love you. Man, we out there. I hope you keep pounding, man.
Keep pounding, brother.
And
That's
shout out
a
to
real
goddamn Cody
brother,
mama
man.
too, man. Shout out to anybody who having any goddamn
Thank you,
health
man.
problems, in your family or anything. If anybody going through anything out here, man, I just prayers up to everybody in the Panther family. But
Appreciate you, brother.
1983 TV out. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
It's a great.
Hey, man. If C-Dog 1983 can turn it around and say Bryce Young is the Carolina Reaper, then maybe there's hope yet. He was one of the biggest detractors of Bryce, and now he's excited. And listen, I don't want people to think I'm not excited, because there's no reason to not be. We have returned a really good offensive line, the most expensive offensive line in the NFL, and a bunch of serviceable depth. We have spent the last 2 first-round picks on wide receivers. You know, we have given Bryce the weapons to be successful. So if you think that Bryce can really make something of it, then there's no reason to not be excited for what Bryce has the potential to do this year.
Yeah, we're going to get pumped up this year. Look, step forward. Step forward. We're making our mark. We didn't make our mark. We're making our mark this season. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Every Tuesday, we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. It is the longest. Oh, wait, we do have one more thing. Are we going to talk about this?
Yeah. Diontae Johnson. Wait, hang on. Diontae Johnson is always in the news for the wrong reason. So he just did an interview, did a podcast, and he was talking about how last year he didn't play in one of those games because it was too cold. He said, I wasn't.
With who? What team?
Then this was the Ravens. He says, I wasn't getting into no run plays, no passing plays or nothing. It was cold. He said, the end of the third, going into the fourth, they were like, Tay, we need you. I was like, nah, I don't think it's a good idea for me. He said, like, my legs are already ice cold, and I didn't want to go out there and put bad stuff on film. It's not like I didn't want to go into the game, but leading up to this point, I had been through so much. I told them I'm not going to go in. So I just sat on the bench, and that's when they suspended me. Seems like a pretty good fucking decision by them, huh? You don't want to play football, the thing that we're paying you to do. Why would we not suspend you? By the way, the dude is now with the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, it's not.
And guess what? Your legs gonna be cold all year long.
Colder than a witch's titty, bro.
Good Lord. All right. That is a wonderful segue into the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. It's our homage to Steve Smith. Cody, I mean, he might be a immediate ice up, but we already made it. Where are we going? Let's ice some fools up.
Let's ice them up. Hold on. Gotta play the intro.
I was trying to give it time.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our time where we step outside, or there's no rules on the podcast at this point. It's our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell anybody or everybody to ice up. It can be political. It can be a kid. It can be football. It can be our family. We're going to ice some fools up. Cody, my ice up pick goes
go first.
Very simple. It's not even it's not funny. It's not cool. It's the opposite of cool. Is this fucking heat wave we're in, bro? I don't know where y'all live at, but I live in Eastern North Carolina in the armpit of hell, it feels like. It was 97 degrees just by the basic thermometer, but like my truck said 101. The heat index was like 110. I had my buddy come by. I moved into a little older of a home, right? And the AC, I was like, man, please come put some Freon in my shit. My boy came by, Cash App and my friend to come by. And he's like, Freon's good. Your AC blowing is cold as fuck. He said, I'm sorry, bro. It's just hot as shit outside. It's just so fucking hot. It is miserable hot. It is. And I don't know, am I just getting soft? Am I getting older or whatever? But 97 degrees. Do you know there's a place called Camping World? They sell like RVs and stuff like this. There's a place in Greenville that has Camping World, and their American flag is ginormous, right? And like they got into a battle with the city council because it technically exceeds like what you're supposed to be able to fly like the size. Like, so they're getting fined. The president of this company came out and said, I'm not taking it down. I'll just pay the fine. Local radio is like, well, what if he makes a donation to the children's hospital? Can we make this? It seemed like a weird battle between the city council. Like, we're going to take a fight and a stand against a too big of an American flag. You know what I mean? Like, it's just been a weird situation. I was driving. It's not as close to my house. And that flag was even hot. That mug won't blowing. It's usually flapping in the wind. It's usually sailing. That flag was sad. It was like, I'm hot. It's so fucking hot. And so I'm icing up this heat wave.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's hot as hell, bro. It was 95 here today. Yeah, even the birds aren't out there flying.
God,
Man. It's too hot for them.
They're sweating.
Yeah, man. CK, you have one?
Yeah, I'm gonna again, I go as you guys know, my focus tends to be on politics a lot more with this stuff. And one of the things that I think I'm icing up is the idea that there's really ever a two-party mindset with anything. And I think what I mean by that is we are all individual human beings, and there's something that I think you start to see, and that is over the past week with everything happening overseas and the decision to go to war, quote unquote, it has divided the Republican Party that was so unified less than 6 months ago. Like just 3 or 4 months ago, we had the most, patriotic, it was such a wild moment, right? And what this shows you, and I think this is a testament to everything, is like everybody is an individual person. And the fact that we have our political system boiled down to a two-party system is so it does the human race a disservice to have this belief that we can only believe two different things. It's either we believe in this or we believe in that. And I think that we're seeing that that narrative flip a little bit right now. And I think people are starting to realize, like, it's not just as simple as I'm a Republican, so I'm going to vote for this to happen, or because I believe, I voted for Trump, I didn't vote for this to happen, right? Well, you kind of did, but you also can't vote and assume that everything you believe is going to be something implemented by one person.
That's the truth, brother. I'm a firm believer that anyone who has only right-leaning ideas or only left-leaning ideas probably live in a bubble of their own creation. I think a reasonable person is probably on both, but yeah, they've been coining the term MAGA Civil War. Yeah, it's so stupid.
God.
Yeah. All right, so you have another one, CK, or you want me to go?
That's it, man. You go ahead.
All right, so I have 3 real quick ones. Why does it do this? Hang on.
Because he deserved to be iced up for that.
Yeah, he did. All right, so I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the Liver King. There is a documentary about him right now on Netflix. He promoted this ancestral tenets and eating raw liver and testicles. And the dude is absolutely jacked. And he was lying to everyone about being on steroids forever. But apparently he's been threatening Joe Rogan and challenging him to a fight. So he showed up in Austin attempting to fight Joe Rogan and then got arrested by the police. This dude has multiple millions of followers on the internet.
What in the world, dude?
There's videos of him with his pupils all dilated and shit. But I definitely recommend the documentary on Netflix. If you haven't seen it already, dude, it's insane. 2 more. So I stepped to the Liver King for multiple reasons.
Too much liver and wind up with internet beef. Great comment, Thomas.
So, again, not really political, but there is a woman by the name of Laura Loomer. She's a right-wing sort of person. Some guy set up a dog food company to sponsor her, but he just sent her Purina and told her that it was edible, for human people.
Oh, did she eat it?
Have these emergency.
Yeah, he makes her eat it for
they also have these
$100.
supplements here, and this is human grade. Okay, this is human grade, and I just want to show you now. I'm going to actually do this live on air so you can see for yourself. Okay, 100% human grade ingredients is what it says here on the package, and the ingredients are Alberta grass finished bison liver, Alberta grass finished bison heart, Alberta grass finished kidney. These are the same type of nutrients that you can find in the beef organs that you purchase for yourself, right? But this is all protected bison that comes from Canada, so that means that there's no hormones, there's no vaccines.
All a fake sponsor, by the way.
Actually share these nutrients with your animals.
He got her to eat dog food.
Yeah, he got her to eat it.
Eat this yourself, and I'm going to show you. This isn't a gimmick. This is not just some trash dog food from China. Okay, these are supplements and these are products that are so healthy and natural that you could actually eat it yourself.
Yeah, right.
How about
So
she
you can see
actually
here,
ate it?
Positive
You know what?
Bison
That's a
clearly
good
says
sponsor
dog
read. You know
food
what?
topper.
She
Yeah,
earned her
right.
In my
money.
mouth right now. So it tastes like meat, and maybe that is disgusting to you, but I'll show you right here. Look, this is the bison product.
You know
right
what?
here.
Yeah,
It says
yeah.
dog food
I mean,
topper.
this is
can
fucked
see on
up by
camera.
this guy, but like as somebody who does an ad
Actually tastes
read,
good.
that's a
Yeah, it
real
tastes
ad read.
good.
That's a real ad read. So I ice up fake ad reads. That girl goes the mile. You know what? Her sponsors recognize they're gonna get every bit out of it.
Yeah.
So ice up Laura Loomer, I guess. And then Rawlers put this out. This is important for everyone to know. Breaking: the TSA is urging travelers, do not present your Waffle House cards at security checkpoints. They do not qualify as real ID alternatives for air travel.
That's
So
hysterical.
To anybody who thought that they could use their Waffle House card at a real ID check, ice up, son. That's pretty damn stupid.
That's the C3 Panthers podcast. We're here every Tuesday night. Thank you for hanging out with us. Like, subscribe, smash the thumbs up button, all those things. Don't forget, you can enter into the July swag bag giveaway and help us continue to grow. Cody Lack, CK, it's been fun.
Absolutely.
Let's get the hell out of here.
C3 Legion. Until next time, keep pounding.